Did you? He's a cute little chick. Careful. Oh, so sweet.
The chicks hide.
They hide?
Yeah, they hide under the pit. It's very tiny though.
They're probably not gonna get out of it. This past week, we were able to bless a family with a home-cooked meal. I share that to say that so often when we think we are blessing others, we truly end up being the ones being blessed. The spark that it ignites in me to create some type of comfort for someone else is a spark I never want to lose. It's like giving someone a big, warm hug, and I wholeheartedly believe you can never love too much. This world will try to make us see the negative and bring us down and sink us, but just remember that there is light to be seen if you choose to look. So often it's in the way we could help someone else and lending a hand and serving in some way. As a homemaker, that so often is within the walls of my home through warm meals, clean clothes, and just the simplicity of tending to the day-to-day tasks. But never lose sight of how important the role of a homemaker is, even if it isn't your full-time job. You do important work every single day when you pick up your home, do the laundry, mow the lawn, and feed your family. Sometimes the best way to get us out of a rut is to start sharing our hearts and our love through service of some kind. It will lift your spirits, it will bring joy to your heart, and the wonderful thing about it is that it can also bless someone else. This week, I am sharing my most favorite way to create comfort at home, which is through warm homemade meals that bring family around the dinner table together. After long, hard days of work, when we don't typically sit down much at all, it is so refreshing to be able to just sit for an hour or so to disconnect from the day and connect with each other. We are able to pray to God with thankfulness, bless each other with smiles and laughter and stories. And when I think about the time around the table, it is the most cherished time of the day to me. Is there a more comforting meal than warm, juicy meatloaf served with a hot, buttery roll and some garden green beans alongside a serving of creamy mashed potatoes? This home-cooked meal is one of the most requested in my family, every time I'm making a weekly meal plan and I ask my family what they like for dinner that week, one of them usually always chimes in with meatloaf and mashed potatoes. This is just a constant repeat, warm homemade meal that they ask for, and it brings joy to my heart to know that they love it so much. We had a chicken massacre, and all of our 8 chickens that we had were killed in the middle of the night. Our automatic chicken coop door malfunctioned, and so something was able to get into their night coop and get them. We've had chickens now for about 5 years, and they've just been a big part of our day-to-day family life. We've grown accustomed to their delicious fresh eggs and going out and feeding them and watching them peck around in the grass. And so we thought long and hard about getting more chicks because we didn't want them to get killed, but we've just decided to keep them in a coop instead of letting them roam free. Because we don't want that to happen again. So we picked up our baby chicks this week from the post office. They hatched on Monday, and they were ready for us to pick them up on Tuesday. So when we got them home, we were able to get them unboxed, and the kids were so excited. We got them some water, gave them their little packet, and so we won't have eggs for quite a while. They won't be ready to lay for a while, but and we've already run out of our fresh eggs. So this is just the first time in a good long while that we haven't actually been able to have our own fresh eggs, but we're super excited for when these actually start laying again. And we need half a cup of milk.
I'm a pool.
The milk. And there. Good job.
I didn't get dump it all.
Alright. Oh,
Spilt some.
it's alright. It's alright. Here.
I got it on me.
Go rinse your hands in the sink. Oh, let me have that. Okay, now no-bake cookies were kind of a staple of my childhood. They bring back those feelings of comfort and home to me, like most sweet treats and cookies do. I love no-bake cookies because they remind me of peanut butter cups. They have chocolate, peanut butter, and oats, and I love to have them for breakfast or with coffee in the afternoon. They're actually just super easy to throw together, and so if you have peanut butter, if you have cocoa powder, sugar, oats on hand, a little bit of vanilla extract, you can pop these onto a parchment paper after they've heated for just a little while, and you can have cookies in no time. And so that's one of the reasons why I really love making them. I also just really love the fact that I don't have to worry about the oven, because so many times, like this evening, I was making the meatloaf in the oven and I wouldn't have had time to throw a cobbler in there or a cake or cookies. And so these were able to be made on the stovetop and thrown together in just a little while. And I also love that I can just double up the recipe and make a really large batch. I ended up taking some of these with the food that we were taking over to a family, and so we had a ton of no-bake cookies and we still have a lot left. And so that's what I really love making or love about the no-bake cookies. They're just one of those staples in our home that bring comfort and are a nice treat after a long day.
I got all of it.
I've been wanting to share a little about what I order when I do pick up my groceries. Some of y'all have requested a grocery haul. While my kids always say that I never buy snacks because their Meemaw likes to spoil them with snacks, but I do try to avoid a lot of prepackaged snack foods, and I focus more on whole foods and making things from scratch, like cookies and bread, and having leftovers from dinner for lunch. For breakfast, a lot of times we have smoothies, egg sandwiches, breakfast casserole, and pancakes, and I try to make enough that if they're hungry a little while later, they can just eat on that. And then Dave usually always takes leftovers from dinner with him for lunch the next day. So what you'll see in my grocery order is things like fruits, strawberries, blueberries, bananas, some canned tomatoes to add into soups, some cream of chicken for soups, some block cheese, butter, orange juice, things like that we actually, it's not really snack foods, it's just foods that we need for preparing a whole entire meal, and it's a focus on whole foods. I know that doesn't work for everyone, but it's just one of the ways that I've been able to kind of cut back on all of the processed junk that I don't want to feed my family, and to focus more on the whole foods and the healthier options. At the start of the week, I made 4 loaves of homemade bread. I froze 1 loaf of bread, and then the kids ate the half of the first loaf. So the rest of the bread I used for sandwiches, and we actually still have some left over that I'll probably use to make garlic bread or French toast. And I may freeze some. This is just a basic yeast bread recipe. I use the King Arthur bread flour to make it. I just love the comforting smell of freshly baked bread, and once you get into the rhythm of bread baking, it really is simple. There are definitely times when we are busier and not home as much, which makes it hard to keep bread made. But when I find that I have more time at home, I love adding this into the day so that we can have it on hand to snack on with butter. I've been trying to pull away from the store-bought bread. It's a process. There's definitely times when I still have to buy store-bought bread for sure. But I have really tried to be more intentional lately about making some at home. And once I get started on it, and I just take the time to set aside, and I've got these 4 bread loaf pans, I can really kick these 4 loaves out pretty quickly because they all fit in the oven at one time, and they bake for about 45 minutes. So if I can just get my mind going, it's to say, hey, I'm going to make this bread so that we have it for the week. I'm going to make extra so I can put some in the freezer. It has really made a big difference, and there's just nothing like homemade bread to add to the comfort of home. This past year, we raised 2 Tamworth pigs here on our farm to process. So they were fall pigs, and we had them processed in May. We have a deep freezer full of bacon, ribs, pork roast, sliced ham, and sausage and ground pork. We have been burning it up right alongside our farm-raised meat chickens. I was using the jowl bacon here to cook up with some peppers and onions to add into my soup beans, and I can honestly say that this is just one of my most favorite meals. It brings back just a wave of comfort for me. I grew up on soup beans, on fried potatoes, cornbread, and greens, and to this day, when I smell beans on, it just brings all of that flooding back to me, and I love how homemade meals can bring that sense of comfort to us. We can bless others with the comforts of home even outside of our own homes. Something as easy as being kind or friendly with others, using our manners when we are gathering groceries or eating at a restaurant. These simple acts of kindness will have ripple effects, blessing people far beyond what you can see. I hope that y'all have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the comforts of your home with your families. Bless some others along the way, and I'll see you next week.